It is an honor to host you again on this hallowed platform, Biafra Global Network, the platform where we speak the truth, the platform where we hold on to the gospel of truth, the platform where we reveal deep seated information and analyze things critically for you to be able to reason properly and understand trend of situations around you and to keep yourself abreast with knowledge. I want to welcome you to this program today. Today is Wednesday, the 18th day of October 2023. And today also is very crucial because we are marking another day. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in the dungeon of the DSS, the terrorist arm of Nigeria government, owned by the British contraption. Today is 18th day of October. And the time now in Biafra land is 8 minutes past 5 p.m. And I don't know what your time is, but we just want to appreciate Chukwuka who has given us the opportunity to converge at our respective times, and has given us the ability to be here today to witness another day, to be alive, to be healthy, and to be hopeful of what he is about to do in our nation, Biafra, and for the restoration of his people back to their original state. Thank you for joining. Please, as soon as you join, it is very important that you just like the video and share on all your social media platforms so that people will also get the information of truth, because you are a conveyor of truth. You convey the gospel and the narrative of truth by exercising also the legal action of sending forward any narrative that has to do with truth and that opens the hearts of the people to the gospel of truth. And that is why we're here. We are not here because we have to make money on social media. We're not here because we have to just come and show off or show ourselves, or just to make fame, to make name, or to be popular. We are here because we want to send the narrative, the gospel, and all that he has given us through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and to hold forth until he is out, to continue to preach the gospel of truth until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is out. It is very, very, very disheartening that he has stayed there for 2 years. I never envisaged that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be in the dungeon of the Nigeria contraption for 2 years, 4 months now running. I never envisaged that. I never believed that it would ever happen. I never understood that it would happen. But the truth here is it has happened because we have people who sit on the affairs of Biafra, or the affairs of IPOB, who claim to be people working under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and put in position by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but yet they have failed to do the right thing, and they have allowed the Nigerian government and the British contraption to be settled and to be calm. Thank you, Ego. Good to have you. Welcome also to the broadcast as usual. Thank you so much, my comrade. I want to appreciate you guys as you join in. Please just like the video and share on all social media platforms. Very, very important, very, very crucial that we do this. They are easy running around shadows, running and circumnavigating around trifles, illusions, and all of that. I'm happy to have you also. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you as always, my comrade. Running around in, they keep running and circumnavigating around circles, having this long odyssey of moving around things. They are still talking about the information of Tinubu. That is what is happening. Today is the title of our first program. Anyways, we look at the issues going on around us, to the things we have to talk about for that day. And it helps us also. We look at the stupidity of Nigerians and how they operate. We keep understanding and opening our minds to understand how stupid Nigerians can be and how stupid we shouldn't be. Because the more we have this information, the more we know what is happening and what we need to know. And someone was talking about, I saw Obi, that the former Minister of Education in the zoo, Obi, making mention of 360 SUVs bought by the House, the House of Assembly generally, and is it the House of Reps or the Senate? I don't know, but at least the House, the National Assembly, bought SUVs, and she was lamenting and saying, "So this is true that they actually bought SUVs for themselves in these hard times, when people are suffering, when people are thinking of how they're going to eat, when people are thinking of how they're going to drink, what they're going to do, how they're going to survive, how they're going to move to work, how they're going to carry out their business and be able to fund the extra burden that the Tinubu administration, the Pulse administration has brought to, the people in the contraption." And she was lamenting, and she said, and she mentioned something. She said that the youth of this nation, the youth of Nigeria, the youth of this nation will rise up to take back their nation. And I began to wonder. You see, the more we think that people are educated, the more we see that they are educated illiterates. Because I just wonder why anybody could look at Nigeria, someone who is a Biafran, especially because I will have to talk for my people. I wonder why any Biafran will look at Nigeria and begin to call Nigeria their nation or their country or whatever they call it. I wonder why any reasonable person who claimed to have gone to school, who claimed to have studied, who claimed to understand critical things, and who claim to be analytical, logical, and at the same time who claim also to be knowledgeable, and yet they would come on social media, they would come around, mess themselves up, disgrace themselves, talk about things, and you begin to wonder, how do they reason? If you call yourself an intellectual, Obi is a critically also, I think that's a solid yes. She's talking about the youth of Nigeria rising up, to defend because the members of it. Now, let me tell you something. I want people to understand, before we go strictly to this broadcast, I want you to understand understand this, please. Understand it and underline my statement, or store up my statement, or cut this part of the broadcast and send to people. Let them listen, especially these people who call themselves Nigerians. Whenever you see criminality happen in Nigeria, it is not supposed to be seen as unusual. Whenever you see the action of the politicians stealing, that is what they are supposed to do. Now, see, you can't establish a criminal edifice or a criminal system and think that the functions of that criminal system would be legitimate, or would be something out of crime. I'm trying to get simple words to use so people can understand. You can't expect to sustain a criminal system or sustain a criminal narrative and expect the people managing that criminal narrative to be free of crime. Don't we reason? The construct is called Nigeria is a criminal structure. It was created out of criminality. The purpose of creating Nigeria is to steal your resources. Don't you understand? The reason for creating Nigeria is to steal human resources, mineral resources, or natural resources. The reason for creating Nigeria is to commit crime against humanity. The reason of creating Nigeria is to commit criminality against the people. That is the reason. So why do you worry and bother and going to be surprised or begin to raise alarm when you see those managing a criminal structure designed to actually commit crime, committing the same crime. That is what they are employed to do. They are employed to steal the resources. They are employed to guard the resources so that Britain will steal more. Then those who are guarding it also will make their own stealing or make their own thieving. That is the need. That is the reason for Nigeria. So why are you quarreling about it? Why are you failing to be surprised? Why are you failing to be surprised? Why are you just making it look like it is something out of place? It is actually the fact, because you endorse the stealing. Then why not endorse the action of stealing by the people who watch over that stealing edifice? Is it that we don't reason? Look at this. I was just looking at her stuff and I was just surprised. She said she's academically educated. She claimed to be knowledgeable. She was former Minister of Education in the same criminal system and structure. She was part of the criminal system. She couldn't learn how to steal very well in the criminal structure. She only stole the little she could steal in the way she could steal. But she is now complaining about those who are really doing the stealing or the thieving in the way it's supposed to be done under the name Nigeria. Because once Nigeria is endorsed by anybody, it is endorsed to continue or to be a legitimate stealing platform. Just like when you have a platform, all these platforms people send to you on social media, that they use in committing crime and all of that, and you join the platform, they will steal from you. Once you join the platform, they will steal from you. They will hack your account. Once you click their link, they will hack your account, whether ignorantly or whatever. As long as you don't understand that you shouldn't be jumping into any link that is sent to your WhatsApp or your Facebook and all of that, your account will be hacked one of the days. How can you have an app called Nigeria that is designed to be stealing the resources of the people, that is designed to be hacking your life, hacking your business, hacking your resources, hacking everything that concerns you, and you still keep clicking on that app, and you don't expect that app to steal from you? People are there managing the app, so when you click on the app, they steal from you. Because when you click the app, they access your information and steal from you. As long as you keep endorsing Nigeria, you are the same way an app is being clicked, or the same way you downloaded an evil app into your phone, the same way also you have accepted Nigeria into your system. So that is an approval you have given to the stealing. So why complain? Why complain, for God's sake? Is it that you guys don't reason? Nigeria is an app. Is a hacker's app. It hacks your resources, hacks your blessings, hacks everything that is of you. And you are complaining. The SUVs are normal. That is what they do. As long as you keep endorsing Nigeria, you are giving them license to steal. So they must continue to steal. Why complain? And let me look at it also in this other angle. The more you keep sponsoring criminals who claim to be fighting for freedom for you, the more you prolong the lifespan of Nigeria, the more you drag Biafra in the mud and make it resemble Nigeria. Because when you don't embrace truth, you naturally exude the functions of where you're coming from. How can you claim you want to be free from a thing that is corrupt, that is criminal, and that is horrible and destroying your life, frustrating your life, stealing from you, killing you, and you still want to use the characteristics or the features of that same thing you want to run from in the same thing you want to get into? Oh my man. You see, we need to begin to reason. The problem we have, is that we don't reason. The problem we have is that we don't reason. We just look at things on the surface point of view. There's something, surface value, and surface value is not of content. It has no in-depth knowledge of content, because surface value only gives you an information of what you see on the surface. And that level of knowledge is a restriction to the total makeup of that fact. Because the total makeup of that fact is not only on the surface value. The surface is important. When you look at the surface, you can define the surface by the in-depth knowledge you have about everything, so that you can now understand the surface value of it better, in a fuller and a more critical manner. I am going to go back to that particular stuff, but the video I played yesterday of Mazi and Kanu and Dele Momodu, I'm going to go into that stuff because we are talking about the facts. Why Mazi and Kanu is still in the DSS dungeon, the DSS of Nigeria. And we want to look beyond just the action of, betraying him, those who betrayed him initially, and then they now sold him out and he was kidnapped and then extraordinarily renditioned to the contraption back. And in our face, they are holding him. We know where he is around Asokoro, yet we can Asokoro Abuja, yet we cannot do anything. That gives a particular perspective to our connection to who Mazi Nnamdi is and the narrative of Biafra. Because look at what is happening in Palestine, for instance. Because the Palestinians are they are desperate to be in control of Gaza. Do you know what they did? They penetrated the wall of Gaza. Penetrated that wall that Israel built. I'm not justifying them, quite right, but I'm bringing out a lesson from this. Because of what they believe in, they know that Israel will always come to bomb and destroy them. They still had the guts to use explosives, blow up the wall, use a crane or something, widen the wall of Gaza, penetrate Israeli territory, attacked the security units in that Gaza wall, penetrated, went to where there is party, killed people, took over 199 or so people hostage, knowing that Israel will still come back to fight them. But they made sure that at their level of strength, they carried out a level of attack that the nation of Israel is feeling very well today. It is making them now wanting to sit down to discuss, because this thing is escalating. As much as they want to destroy Hamas, they still want to sit down to discuss so that these things don't happen again. It made America's president to fly to Israel. Now, have anything made Rishi Sunak or whatever his name is of the British, has anything made him to fly into Nigeria to say these Biafrans, what is going on? Okay, we are holding illegally. We are going to release him to you, so that and let's talk about this. For 2 years plus. But look at the way Hamas did yesterday. Just because Israel is claiming that land. The land. Later they were owned everywhere, and Palestine they were put there by the British or the Roman Empire to occupy that place. Another aspect, the 16 Days War of 1973, Israel took most of the land. 1973 or so, I think it was something, the war between Israel and Syria and Egypt together, where for 16 days when they dealt with Israel, attacked them without suddenly, just like what they did now, like what Hamas did now. Now, aside the SUV story, because I am also going to play that video so that we can listen, and then I'll now go straight into this narrative from where I stop right now. Aside the SUV story, there is this narrative that Tinubu's FBI will be released. Engaging themselves, they keep with distractions. Instead of people to exude their strength in probing why Britain brought them together with Oduduwa Nation, Fulani, and everybody together, and ask themselves why the problem we have is that we are together in one particular nation in one particular contraption called Nigeria. And that is why that is the fundamental of our problem. They keep looking at the symptoms. They keep looking away from 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 the symptoms. And they keep doing what they are supposed to do and out of place. They keep looking away from the symptoms and all of that. They keep looking away from the symptoms. They are treating the medicine. Treating the sickness. Sorry, I'm being distracted, so maybe I'm saying rubbish, I don't know. Because this call is important anyways. I just want to actually make a person understand that I am in a broadcast. It's a very important call. So now, Tinubu has become their headache. That is what they are arguing about. They will argue all of this stuff until 4 years, another election will come. They will participate in that election. Another 4 years, they will be dragging, this time around, they will be dragging another issue. That's 4 years ago. They will keep dragging until they die. And their children will come and begin to cry one Nigeria because they have impacted their children a wrong belief in Nigeria. So their children will come in to still continue the same narrative. The Asian tribes, leaders and the rulers of people, the sun must rise again. Definitely the sun will rise. That's what they're doing. Now today, did you know, I heard the news also today from BBC that they are going to be sharing $1.8 billion or so to 15 million households in the contraption called Nigeria. Tomorrow I'm going to speak more on this matter, and I'm also going to play a particular video of one of the estates where in Lagos, where they said they were sharing palliatives recently based on the fuel hike and all of that, and they said they were going to be giving palliatives. They now gave a whole estate, whether 5 kilograms of rice to share. You know what an estate is, right? Many houses, many families. In one building, you can one block or one building, you can see maybe 20 or 30 or 40 people living in it. Imagine that in over 100 blocks in an estate. They gave them one bag, 5 kilo bag, not even 150 kilo bag. Even 150 kilo bag cannot do a family, one household. They gave the whole estate one bag, and they would go and write in their records, they have given the estate members bags of rice. That's what they're going to write. And you are surprised. Why are you surprised? Because that is what Nigeria means. That is what Nigeria means. That is what Nigeria means. Now let's listen to this, and then I'm going to now begin to give you perspective, the whole information that I need to do today.
You need to know it is not in their hands, because you know what? Power belongs to the people. Anything we want is what we're going to get.
Once again, I want to ask this. Do you think this dream is realizable without a war? And are you prepared to fight another war?
This dream can be realized without a war. And let me put it this way, as soon as the various ethnic groups in Nigeria realize what Nigeria means to each and every ethnic group, they will subscribe to our position. So it is realizable without a war. Before the white man came, let me ask you this. It's an interview, which means you can ask me questions, I can ask you. Before the white man came, was there any Nigeria? Before the white man came, did Nigeria exist? It's a simple question I'm asking. Did Nigeria exist before?
It didn't, no.
It didn't exist. Then why are African people, black people dying over something that they did not create? Did any Yoruba man create Nigeria? The answer is no. No Igbo man created Nigeria. No Hausa man did. No Fulani man did. No Kanu man did. No Jukun man did. When you come to Nigeria, it's always a debate about it is our turn. It is our turn. It is our turn to rule. Now there are over 250 main ethnic groups in Nigeria. If you keep protecting the presidency every 8 years to each and every ethnic group, times 8, 250. How many years are you going to get? So some people will die many times over. They will reincarnate many times over. The presidency hasn't come to them. Nigeria is a joke and an absolute mess. It was not created by black people. Therefore, it cannot be sustained by black people. I want to see an Africa where a Yoruba nation, a Yoruba mega nation extends from Togo all the way to Edo State. That's what I want. Because that is authentic Africa. I don't know why Africans are so beholden to something that's alien to them. Are you a white man? Do you look at the created Nigerian white man? What are you doing as an African defending something that a white man created out of, or should I say, a racist intent? Nigeria was an ordinary company, Royal Nigeria company, an ordinary business venture that the British converted into a nation, and Africans are killing themselves trying to maintain something that a white man created. Sometimes I wonder what type of God made African people. I don't understand it. And that is why you have this neo-colonialism. That is why the British High Commissioner had to go to Tinubu to ask him, how do you end this protest? Because if this protest continues, you're jeopardizing our oil. Nnamdi Kanu can use it as an advantage to go and get Biafra. They ask the army to go in and kill people. You people are being ruled by your colonial masters. Your fate is not in your hand. You're in a country that is 60 years old, so to speak. There is no electricity. If I am a Nigerian, I should be ashamed. I can't come out and say I'm a Nigerian. I'll be ashamed of myself. For 60 years, you have no electricity. For 60 years, no good roads. For 60 years, no good schools. For 60 years, your politicians are traveling abroad for medical treatment. I ask you, what is there to be proud of about Nigeria? Name one thing you can be proud of. Name one thing. Is a question I'm asking you, Dele.
Yeah, that interview is very critical. That's why I'm playing it. I played it yesterday, and also I'm playing it today. And of course, it is a very, 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 very important, interview that people must listen to. Very simple, but very technical, in depth, especially in defining the way our people reason and how our people operate based on their reasoning. Now, you see, I am very, very particular about every statement, every line Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was actually putting up there, and the arguments he was putting up there. And I began to wonder, so people would have heard this message. I think this broadcast was about in, I think, late 2019 or early 2020. I'm trying to remember. And after the end, no, late 2020 or early 2021, after the NSAS program. He mentioned the NSAS there when Tinubu was consulted to make sure that the Lekki tollgate protest and all the protests that everywhere the protest was holding, that the protest stops. That was when this interview was granted after that, because at that time when the protest came up, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was actively commanding us what to do and the things we need to do and how we need to sustain this protest for the next 1 month or so that we can be able to pass a message to the international community and call their attention and get them to be concerned about it. And and once it is able to get to that level where it is now a massive thing, and it can't be stopped, then it is possible for negotiations to come in, because the international community also will now begin to wonder and begin to think of their own businesses and all they have, and they have to wade in to make sure they actually stop the whole thing. But you see how it happened. As soon as and people were, thank God, some of us were not killed, those of us who were there then, and then thank God, but we souls of those, the lives, lots of people into the lagoon. The lagoon is just by the side, just by behind what's the name of that hotel? This building that Tinubu just at Lekki Tollgate, serious hotel that Tinubu built. Without it is not yet it's, I don't know whether it's a hotel it's using it for. And then this name also, behind there, behind that divides Morocco and the other Brew house. They have of Sister Hebrew and co, the Hebrews family and all. The other side, where you have. So now people jumped into the lagoons. Those who can swim, they jumped and they died. Lots of people because they were trying to escape, running away from the shootings of the military, and some got crushed, some got injured, the rush and all of that. Lots of things, lots of people dropped dead. We saw dead bodies there, and so much so. But it ended in that situation, and yet the people who saw these things happen, the people who were there when these things happened, were still holding on to Nigeria. They said, "We will deliver this our nation." They have stopped us from protesting, but we will not stop. We must save. They are ready to sacrifice their lives to sustain what they didn't create, what their fathers didn't create, what their grandfather is not even a citizen to. They are sticking out their lives. They are sticking their lives to that. They said no, they must sustain it. Those who are educated, those who claim to be educated, those who claim to be academicians, those who claim to be intellectuals, those who claim so many things, those who tell you that they have been in this thing for years, they are founding fathers and they are there for years, they still are saying that in spite of the fact that this thing that Lugard created and the British created is killing our people, we must hold forth to it. We must not let it go, because that is where our life is connected. Our life is connected to what the British created. Our life is strongly connected to what British created. Now, I want to bring it now to the affairs of Biafra. because I want to use all of this narrative to so that those who are supporting criminality under the Biafra project will understand where they got their mindset from. So you know it's not ordinary. So you will know the problem, where the problem is. The reason why most of you, some of you, those of you, let me say those of you now, not some of you, because everyone who is supporting criminality has this mindset. The reason why some of you supporting criminality are doing so is because you got a derived life from the narrative of Nigeria. Your lifestyle, your behavior, your thinking, your reasoning, your system, your everything is derived from Nigeria. You were born in Nigeria. You grew up in Nigeria. You grew up in Nigeria. You are living in Nigeria. You partook of Nigeria's sacrilege. You are part of those who believe that you must be corrupt to make it. In fact, in your businesses, wherever you are, some of you have stolen. Some of you were sacked because you stole in the office. Some of you are looking for means to steal. Some of you, Nigeria is a structural error in the context of humanity. And so you are a product of that structural error, and it rubs off on how you reason, so that even in fighting your freedom, you still think that you have to sustain criminality, you have to sustain that behavior for you to achieve truth or freedom. You still have to maintain that error because it is now strongly part of you. You can't escape it anymore because you have refused to escape it by being very diligent and decisive in your mind to say, I want to get out of this error and begin to use. Now, how can you come out of Nigeria still having the same mentality of Nigeria to begin to fight for freedom? How can you succeed? How can you have the Nigerian mentality and still think that you are going to do well, or you are going to support the right cause in Biafra freedom, or you are going to support the right people? You are still going to support that attitude, those actions, those features, those functions that look same as Nigeria. So when you see people who carry the spirit of Nigeria as telling you they are fighting for freedom for you on your behalf, you would support them because your system is Nigerian, not intellectual. That is why we have so much error in the system. Now, Nigeria itself is not holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because for Nigeria to have the ability to hold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Nigeria needs your attitude, your character, your behavior to be able to do that. So the character and the behavior of those spearheading IPOB, those that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu put in the DOS, or those whom Biafrans now began to sponsor to stand on their behalf, thinking that the DOS has compromised. That spirit, that attitude, that action of you sponsoring, supporting, keeping them, sustaining them, funding them, is what gives Nigeria the ego, the effrontery, the ability to keep Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because they don't have what it takes to keep him. They don't have what it takes to keep him. In a place, in a system where the whole people stand up to revolt and don't mind what happens to them, that even no matter how evil the powers that be, they cannot withhold. They can't withstand those kinds of people. They can't withstand those kinds of people. You know why? Because there's this thing there's the way God has done this thing. When there is a forceful revolution, let me take your mind to the book of 2 Kings. When Israel came to Jeroboam, is it Jeroboam and Rehoboam? Yeah, Jeroboam also, the son of Solomon, who took over the reins of power. And they said to him, they said that your father was so stringent on us. He was tasking us, he was taxing us and tasking us so much. We were suffering. The same thing God told them that they were going to suffer when they allowed themselves to be controlled by kings. when they told Samuel, that king, God said, okay, you're going to suffer. Since you want it, I'm going to give you a king. But I'm going to allow kings to control you. But when you are controlled by kings, just get ready to suffer, because they're going to punish you. They're going to deal with you. And so, Jeroboam was told by the people that, please, lighten this burden. Lighten this burden. We are suffering. David gave us so much stress that we are suffering. Now you are the king. Now you are the king. I think, no, not the son of Solomon, the son of, is it the son of David? Yes, the son of David. Now you are the king. So, can you, I'm missing this story. Is it the son of Solomon or Solomon? Anyhow, Jeroboam, anyways, the king. He said, your father gave us this stress and we are suffering. Now, please help us reduce the tax so that we will be comfortable. So that we can, just like what is happening in the zoo contraption called Nigeria. Now, they have taxed the people so much, stretched them. The minimum wage is 38,000, right? Now, the government of Nigeria says they want to give every household $30 for the next 3 months. They will spend $1.8 billion, giving them 30. Now, you see how they give them stipends. And what's made me cry in my spirit is that the person who was analyzing this thing and who was giving the report, the correspondent who was giving this report on BBC, when he was being asked, what would $30 do for a household for a month? He said, in fact, the minimum wage is $38, so you can imagine having $30 now, which is about 30,000 naira extra. It's going to go a long way to really, I began to wonder, I began to cry in my spirit. I said, is that how common they have seen the people, to think that extra 30,000 is what the people need to live a comfortable life? That having a minimum wage of 38,000 and adding 30,000 to it will now make the people so comfortable, and will now make the people so happy that they have 68,000, which cannot even take care of school fees. No matter how low your school fees is, and you have 3-4 children, at least some schools pay 20,000, 25,000 because of the remote places where they are. So you can imagine paying for 3 children, 25, 20, 40, 60,000 is gone. And you pay that every 3 months, every term. Now, the correspondent was saying to BBC and telling the world that 30,000 extra is very good. It would go a long way. The only problem is that they don't know if the people are thinking that politicians will take the money. Now, that is his problem. The 30,000 is okay. To them, it's fine. What about those who are not working with the government? What about those who are poor? They can't even make 10,000 a month. What about them? Now you see, the mindset of an average Nigerian is critical, to the point that even when they are being killed, they still endorse the killer. The mindset of an average Nigerian Biafran is this: even when they are being duped, they still endorse the one who is duping them. You can imagine somebody telling you that they're going to count 150 days and give you freedom. And they counted 150 days, and we have about 7 months after that 150 days. Of course, this month, October, will make it 8 months. 8 months, 30 by 8. About 400 and something. Is it how many now? Is it about somebody calculate it for us? About is it 240 days or so more, 240 days or plus or less, added to the 150 days. In fact, he has not even given you that freedom as he promised you, you have counted another 150 days and counting another 150 days, making it almost 300 days, and you are still in that place he said he promised you he's going to give you freedom. The same way the politicians promise you, they fail, they come to kill you on top, the politicians in Nigeria, and yet you still believe that Nigeria can be redeemed. You still want to endorse that contraption that is holding you down. Politicians take salaries, take all sorts of allowances, such is never attended to the people. Such is never extended, okay, to the people who voted them in. Okay, definitely. And God is protecting him. Now, give it, anchoring this broadcast now, I have in my heart because of how we reason and how we keep, and yet don't want to leave what is making us to suffer. Don't want to leave what is everything you see today explains the mindset of the people. The people changing mindset. It's not possible because it's characterized by fraud. You can't have your mindset changed and still want to sustain fraud. It is impossible. You can't have your mindset changed and you still want to sponsor people duping you in the name of getting you Biafra. Because everything I'm giving you the two sides, the Biafra side, the Nigeria side. Because I want you to see that they are just similar. They are the same. Nigeria and the false Biafra fighters. And those of you having the mentality of Nigeria, claiming to be in Biafra, you can see that you have similarities in your attitude. And that is why we're not going anywhere. That's why we're still stranded. Ego says the pattern is repeating itself, and all those groups doing fraud raising, they only fill their bellies without caring for the people they claim to save. Evil people. It is clear that the characteristics of those who are committing criminality in Biafra project is the same as the characteristics of those who are hell-bent on sustaining Nigeria. Because you can never be different without being different. So which means if you are not a Nigerian, you can never be a Nigerian in your action, in your behavior, in your attitude, in your expectation, in your actions. So if you're not a Nigerian, you would always recognize the characteristics of Nigeria in actions that speaks contrary to Nigeria, like fighting for freedom. So it only takes people who are not Nigerians and because for you to know you are not a Nigerian, you would have understood the full features, characteristics, functions, attitude of Nigeria, of an average Nigerian. Because it is explained in details. In everything. Now you can imagine during that time, during the period of that SARS, after people have been killed at Lekki Tollgate, Fashola, who claimed to be a very important man, very straightforward man, people were hailing him those days when he was in Lagos, when he was governor of Lagos. He came to Lekki Tollgate and played a very fun. Do you people still remember that funny comedic let me call it comedic act of Fashola. He came to Lekki Toll Gate and he was moving with other politicians, and then suddenly he walks somewhere and he now picks up a camera. He says he has found a camera. They just staged the camera, put it there. Then he now comes and if you see the way he was moving, you know that he already know that there's something somewhere he wants to take. And they tell you that that camera has information of what happened in Lekki Toll Gate. And they started giving you false information that the camera has covered it and that nothing like killings happened. Amaka says we must either be cold, we must be either cold or hot, respectively and accordingly. Freedom can never be governed in a simple manner. We must live or we die. I like that last line. We must live or we die. We must live or we die. Let me say something briefly on that. The truth here is, it is either you are living or you are dying. Now, we are not looking at physical death in this form now, because I'm going to give it two meanings in that analogy that she just gave. We must live or we die. We must live means that there is an action you must take. That is why the word must is there, because there is something that has to be done for life to be sustained, or for you to define life as living. And there is a particular action you must take, that you would take, that proves that you are dying. So when action is being taken in line with life, it is automatically, or it negates death, which means that you are living, not dying. In the physical nature, when you're not taking care of your health and all of that, you're dying. But when you are taking good stuff, eating good food, making sure that you check your water and all of that, you are living. There's things you need to do to live. You must make sure you stay healthy, you eat healthy things, and all of that. That is a sign that you are living. That means you are taking action to project your ability to live. But when you are taking dirty water, you are eating contaminated food, you are doing all of this stuff, it is actually proving that you are dying. So which means that the action of living and dying, or dying, is based on what you are doing. That means if you are living, you are taking an action. If you are dying, you are taking an action. And what action you take defines what you are getting, whether you are living or you are dying. Nigeria has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu right now. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has stayed for 2 years, 4 months plus. Or 2 years. Tomorrow makes it 4 months. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been captured. 2 years, 4 months. Tomorrow makes it completing the 4 months added to the 2 years. All of these things is happening not because Nigeria has the power to keep Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And that was why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was confident to tell us anytime he is arrested. And that was why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu moved around confidently and spoke. Because he knows that Nigeria does not have the power to keep him. Because once Nigeria holds him, he believes we will take the right action that will make Nigeria free. But did you know that the capture of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in 2015, or the arrest, even an arrest, did you know that the action that Biafrans took during the time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2015 is even more stringent, more terrible than the actions Biafrans are taking when they even captured him criminally in 2021. Is it not shocking to you? And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu believed this. Let me give you this. I want you guys to reason. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu believed that for Biafrans to take the kind of action they took when he was arrested, it means that if he is kidnapped or anything happens to him, it's going to be bad for Nigeria. because he looked at the actions that were taken by Biafrans when he was arrested in Lagos in 2015. Biafrans began to bombard the oil installation. They began to take charge. They began to attack the Nigeria contraption on the sea. They began to deal with the Nigeria economy, because that is the real deal. To crumble the economy. That was what Biafrans were doing when Mazi Nnamdi was arrested in 2015. That forced Nigeria to make sure he was released in 2017. So they arrested him in 2015. In less than 2 years, or in about 2 years, they released him, because of the pressure Biafrans put on them for just arresting him. The pressure was so much that they had to give him conditions and arrest him. Even the conditions were not that stringent. They just had to meet there the shorty, 2 shorties, or 1 shorty, or so 2 shorties, and then some amounts paid. Now, Mazi Nnamdi saw all of that, and he was so sure that if anything happens to him, these people who could take these kinds of action just because he was arrested, these people are going to do more if anything happens to his life, or anything at all happens to him. So when he was kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned, he took the pain. He took everything they did to him. He took it because he knew, he felt in him that we will stand for him. If he could stand in 2015 when he was just arrested, how much more when he is kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned? He believed so much in himself that we would not take this thing for granted. We would not take it lightly with Nigeria. Because if we could bomb oil installations when he was arrested, how much more now that he is kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned? He believes that we would crumble, we will make sure we level the oil installations. And the shocking thing is that rather than do that, people now felt that, this is another opportunity. The first one, we didn't do it well. We didn't steal well. We were not able to steal very well. We only put pressure on Nigeria, and Nigeria released him. Now, imagine this. When he was arrested, he was released in less than 2 years, or in about 2 years. Less than 2 years. But now that he is kidnapped, they could hold him more than 2 years because of the way we handled the matter. Because of the way we handled the matter. Because of the way we are handling the matter. So if his kidnap and extraordinary rendition is treated lightly by us, it means that Nigeria believes that they can keep him as long as they want, because they have seen that we are not really strong enough, or we are tired of this narrative of freedom. So the man who is propelling the freedom, who is Mazi Nnamdi, must be kept away so that we would forget the issue of freedom. Because they believe when they keep him away, with time, it will just die down. All that will be happening is criminality and killing ourselves. But ask yourself this question. How come we were able to carry very quick actions when Mazi Nnamdi was kidnapped in 2015? I mean, when he was arrested, not kidnapped, arrested. Against international law and extraordinarily rendition against international ethics. That is when the actions taken are less. That is when the actions we are carrying out people who were on the at the helm of affairs those times were committing criminality when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. They committed, then they would have maxed another opportunity to sell him and get rid of him. It's so much money the first time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. They can make more if they eliminate him. That was why they connived to make sure that they get him. They get him eliminated this time, which Chukwu preserved him until now. Ask yourself this question. If when he was arrested, he was released in less than 2 years, and now that they have committed an international crime to get him, he is there for more than 2 years. Who is responsible for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being in there? This time around, rather than go to the economic value of Nigeria and disrupt their political ambition by refusing to refusing to endorse the election, and then going to the economic points and crumble the economy of the zoo. What Biafrans and those who are criminals, those who capitalize on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's dilemma, what they are now doing is to go to the streets and the communities, steal from the people, kidnap the people, get from them, steal, destroy their goods, make them homeless, cause those ones who are suffering, who have little businesses, to suffer. They rather choose to steal from the people, which they did the first time anyways, partially. But some Biafrans, people like Tampolo and Co, were busy crumbling the economy. So what Nigeria did now, the nice plan they now did now for themselves is now, they now gave contracts to these guys under Nigeria, those people who would actually crumble the oil installation. And then they now gave opportunity for those ones who are just there to be stealing from their people and committing crime in the community. And when they commit the crime, they capitalize on the crime again to come again to say that they want to arrest or get them. And they go in there using this as an alibi to kill the community, the members. To kill the community members. Now, do you understand the gravity of what is happening? How can they commit an international crime against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and they are able to keep him for more than 2 years? But when they arrested him, which is not a crime to arrest anyone, even if they don't have a right to arrest him for asking for freedom, they were able to release him quickly and quicker. What is the cause? Ask yourself, how come? The reason is because of our action today. Some of you refuse to look at the criticalness of what we are supposed to do. You now kept supporting and sponsoring the criminals like Simon, Chinansa, and all these people. Chinansa and all these people who claim they are fighting for freedom. You now decided to fund them rather than stopping and say, no, what I am seeing is not right. Why did you allow Anambra election? US. Simon, you said no election in February. DOS allowed election. You also allowed election because you said you have everything it takes to stop the election. Why did you allow it? You pause and say, no, for the fact that you did this, we can no more support you guys because you have allowed them to have their way in what they desire, politics. And politics help them sustain their control over us and help them sustain their control over the economy. You allow them get away with the politics, the time when it is very, very crucial to stop it. You allow them get away with it. Now, rather than going also to attack the oil installations, attack the main things you're supposed to attack, you are now attacking the people and stealing from the people deceiving and manipulating them to make from them, killing the ones you're going to kill, kidnapping the ones you're going to kidnap to get from them, and manipulating the ones you're going to manipulate by fundraising. So economically, they prey on you. Politically, they deceive you. So these two forces, that is an opportunity to get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu free. If only the issue of attacking the oil installations was able to get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out in less than 2 years in 2015 and between 2015 and 2017. What do you think would have happened if we had applied the narrative of stopping the election at the same time closing down the economy? These two forces, what do you think would have happened? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu would have been free a long time ago. But all of you morons out there, rather than sitting and saying, because of your negligence and stupidity, these guys are stealing from us, and Nigeria has been able to keep Mazi Nnamdi Kanu more than 2 years. More than 2 years. Because you can imagine if only the economic, strangulation on Nigeria in 2015, 16, 17 was able to get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu free less than 2 years. You can imagine if we had applied the political and economic strangulation two force, the two force that sustains any tyranny or any criminal edifice, the two force, or the two elements that sustain any kind of criminality or sustains any empire: politics, economy. These are the two things that sustains power. Politics is power, economy is power. They use it as a means of influence, and that influence is that social side that is naturally controlled because they are in control of politics and in control of the economy. Once they are in control of politics and economy, they can easily influence the people socially because they control the social lives of the people using politics and economy. If only economic approach was able to help us get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out in less than 2 years between 2015 and 2017. You can imagine if Simon has done what he's supposed to do, as he said, and applied the political and the economic side. Till, just like he said in February, even before November 2022, 14th November 22, or 8th of November 22, when he said that there will be a total stop of oil lifting, oil exploration in Biafra land because of the killing at Izombe, and other times he said the same thing, and then he now stopped. You can imagine if he had started November time, he had stopped the oil, he had made sure he had really funded the men on ground and funded ESN. ESN would have stopped this action because ESN was more. Asari would not have had voice now. ESN would have stopped Asari. They would have stopped the oil installation and the oil exploration. They would have been able to do that. Then in February, they will stop the election. Imagine the two actions that would have totally, by now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be out. And by now, Nigeria will be begging. By now, they will be thinking of referendum. By now. But because you allowed them get away when DOS did the one they did in 2021, September, August, September, allowing Anambra election, you all sat down and some of you still support them and allow them to continue with the criminality. Some of you left now. We now left and said, okay, let Simon come in. Then Simon now did his own promising, and none of the promises coming to pass. And the height of the matter is that in February, after the 150 days, nothing happened. You are still clapping for him. And you are asking why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still there. You think it is those who sold him in the first time that is the problem? No. The people who sold him that first time would have been in trouble if we had taken action. If DOS had actually set up a fact-finding committee, we would have been able to move forward. But because some of them are part of those who sold him, they can't set up fact-finding committee. If we had told Simon enough is enough, you have lied. You lied. You're going to stop oil exploration, and you didn't do it. You said so many things in 2022, late 2021 to 2022. You said so many things that you didn't carry out. And the climax is when you talked about the no election and counted 150 days. And all we now began to see is that you are telling us about liaison office here and Biafra government house here and water there. That alone should make you say, no, enough is enough. Now, no, we can't go with this. And then the people will now come together strongly and determine how we're going to move this. Our voice together. My voice alone cannot do it. Ego's voice alone cannot do it. Amaka's voice alone cannot do it. Few of us, our voices cannot do it alone. There's a need for action of the mass of people. This is when we all come together. As I'm raising my voice, talking now, calling you to let's join forces. We now agree, we come together. But you prefer to sponsor the people who gave you promises, and they are making money from the promises they give you. And I'm calling you on a platform where you will know what is happening to the money that you're contributing. You say, no, we want to continue with the person who is taking our money without giving us information. So that when he gets you, in case he gets you the freedom to, you are asking for, he will not give you access to the finances or information about government operations. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu would have been out. But because we are all sponsoring the people who are capitalizing on his dilemma to steal from people, that is why Nigeria is comfortable. That is why they are not bothered. All they will do is whenever they will just tell you, we have neutralized IPOB stuff here. We have done that today. They posted on, is it Punch or Premium News or something. We have neutralized IPOB there. We have done this. We have taken their stuff. We have done this, and in Imo State, Simon will now come out and say, hey, they are lying. Hey, they are lying to you. And that's what he did on go to X or Twitter. Go there, you'll see it. And he himself that is bragging, he didn't show you, he didn't come to show you pictures of all the ones they have neutralized. He just came on social media, posted, we have neutralized them. We are giving them water. We have neutralized them. Because he's somebody who likes to show up. Today you see him on Twitter, he posted on the face of Oge and the face of one other person. He says the chairman or the member of the military committee or something. And Oge, two people went to Finland. He's asking other people to post pictures because he wants to show. If they post pictures, he will post it because there is no evidence of the Nigeria agents. That is why you would only type something. And now that the Nigeria contraction show their pictures of neutralizing the people they said they neutralized, he now does it like because you are a zombie, as Ego have said. That is why they will keep telling you this. They will tell you and believe that you will always believe what. If you could contribute money, if you shall be shouting to water. If you could continue to do this, all of this stuff, that means you are the reason. Contraption is confident that you supporting the people who are carrying out actions that put them in. The facts why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is here. You can't imagine that after an international law was broken and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was criminally dealt with. You can't imagine that now that the Nigeria contraption committed an international crime, that is when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is staying in the dungeon for a longer time. That's when he's staying in the dungeon for a longer time. You know why? We are the reaction that determines what Nigeria does next. We are the reason that Nigeria can define the next action. That is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still where he is. I want to thank you guys. Share this broadcast on all the social media platforms. Let people hear this message so that they will begin to understand that it is important for us to come all out now as a people, not just a few, supporting a group of people calling themselves Biafra government in exile, whatever they call themselves, and stealing from them, manipulating them. We need to come together under the accountability and transparency group. Any group can come join forces with us. We have already started these actions. We are communicating, trying to get people together. But we want you, if all of us can come together on a platform where nobody leads, where we all have our voices, we all know what we're doing, we can define truly what we're doing. Look at them now, going to Finland. What are they going for? They say they're going for BIAFRA convention and referendum convention. How stupid people can be. So what you go there now, you party, you eat, you have paid money, you go there, you eat, and then you now talk. He now brags and tells you and makes you feel good by telling you what he's doing that he doesn't have evidences about. And then he will now brag to Finland government. He brought people. They paid. They brought foreign revenue to Finland, because when they take flights and all of that, they add to the revenue of Finland, and Finland government is happy, and he's publicizing it so that Finnish government will say, wow, this guy is doing well, we are bringing more money, because all the money is being spent on flight for those who are going there is going to bring more revenue to the Finnish government. Whether it is 1 penny or whatever, it is still revenue to them. So they will not stop him. They will not stop every of his activities. He's bringing, as long as the viewership, people are viewing his platforms from Finland, the Finnish government is making money from his videos and all of that. So they would not stop him. He will continue to do whatever he's saying he's doing from Finland. He is ready to show, if this program now, just watch it, if the crowd in that program, if the program being held in Finland has a crowd, he will showcase it on his platform. If he doesn't have a crowd, he will just show some faces. He will just pick some faces and just post one person's picture, post one group's picture, post one. He will not want to show everything together. A bunch of scammers see their heads so fat now for all evil money they are eating in the ocean. That's it. He can pay them all back with their own coins, and that's the truth. He will. That's what praise say. He will do it. I want to tell you guys, don't allow yourselves to be stupid. Get out of this narrative of stupidity. Come back to your senses and do the right thing. It is very, very important. And we must understand this. Very, very important. We must understand this. I want to thank you guys. I'll see you again. Hopefully today's Wednesday, mid-Friday, we're going to have time together. We're going to relate these facts with Africa in general. And we're going to look into what is happening in the Middle East. And at the same time, relate it to what is happening in Africa, and at the same time happening in Nigeria, then happening in Biafra. Because we need to relate all of this stuff so that you can see the thin line connecting all of these dots. And then you know why we have a problem and why Mazi and Kanu is suffering because of you. Because of our behavior. Because of you that is sponsoring criminality, not you that is sponsoring truth. Thank you all. We shall meet again. We shall be here on Friday, hopefully, and we shall talk more. If it's possible for me to be here tomorrow, I shall be here tomorrow, and we shall also discuss, but not be on Friday. Please share this program on all your social media platforms. Like the video first, and then share. And then if you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to it. We have to stand for the truth. We have to do the truth. We have to continue on the path of truth. Thank you so much. I love you all. Appreciate you. God bless you. Very good.